Good morning. This is Reid Seals for AM 1340 WGRV. I'm here with Greene County Mayor David Crum and Budget Director Danny Lowry. We're here to talk about the budget this morning before the Greene County Commission meeting on Monday, where they will vote on the budget. They'll also have a public hearing at 5 that afternoon. My first question, Mayor, is can you tell us the proposed tax increase and explain it to the audience?
Well, good morning, Reid. Good morning, Greene County. The proposed tax increase, rather than getting into specific rates and things, I guess, is the main thing I want to say is that we need to really look at funding our county government and investing in our county government to fund it so that every year seems like we're not looking at taking a fund balance in order to fund it. Because from 2012 to 2016, we ran budgeted deficit 3 times when you can't call it a balanced budget when you're saying you're going to balance it out of fund balance. It's still a deficit. And for 2017, we took almost $1.8 million out of fund balance in order to fund it. So we've not been operating fund balance, and the Commission for a number of years has complained about taking money out of fund balance. So what we're looking at is a tax rate that will get us even, and with this rate will allow us, and for all year long I've complained about our capital projects, that we need to fund that and we need to take care of our buildings. We're still working on replacing the roof to courthouse. That's a slow process because they're kind of having to hand make those guttering and things. But so it's slow, but I was talking to a person the other day that was elected in 94 that said the roof was leaking then. So now we're spending about $220,000 to fix a roof that's leaked that long, and the additional damage and stuff that's done to it. So we've got to fund for the future, not just let's try to get by this year and look at what's down the next. The tax rate, yes, we're looking at a proposed tax rate and even a possible flat tax rate. Until the Commission votes and 11 people pass it, the budget and the tax rate's a fluid item, and that's what we'll be taking them, a budget and a tax rate that they'll be able to discuss and look at. We're still looking at a flat rate so that the rate's the same inside and out, having communications with Comptroller's office and CTAS and everybody to see if there's any issues with that. But I think that's fair so that everybody in the county is paying the same rate. But if we find out something different, then we can adjust it at that time, because it's still, like I say, a fluid document and a fluid rate until there's an agreement by the county commission on the funding mechanism and the budget.
Now, the proposed one, though, that the Budget and Finance Committee recommended, that will make the city and county taxes even? Is that correct?
Make them even. It'll be a $2 rate. We've always had an inside-outside rate, and we get to looking, and I think McMinn County may have been the first one that it became a legal issue that they went to court, and the Supreme Court ended up upholding that flat rate. My understanding, Washington, Sullivan, and Carter also have a flat rate. Hamlin has a different rate for inside and outside based on garbage. If you remember back a couple of years ago, that was a question the city had. It's not fair for them to pay their tipping fees and others not. So that's where we ended up, the county picking up those tipping fees. So I'm just trying to make it across the board equal. Now, does that make a disparity this year? Yes. In the amount, but we'll continue to look at that and see if that is something we can do.
And do you know who benefits more in that, the city or the county, by making it even?
Well, if it's even, I would hope it would be fair and equal to all. I mean, the tax rate's obviously going to be quite a bit more for the city residents to move up to what that rate is, because you're taking out that difference in school debt, and that's the thing we've got to look at is, can we make that move?
And who came up with this tax increase, this specific one?
Well, I mean, the tax increase came up, and that was part of it. As I go to mayors' meetings and things, and I hear mayors talk about having flat rates and things, and we look, and 70 to 75% of the counties do. So we began to look at developing that, and our budget director looked at how can it be financed and funded by going to a flat rate.
And do you have a breakdown of what the property tax goes toward?
Well, it goes to all your general fund things. So you just start at my office, the county commission salaries, anything that's at the courthouse, annex, the register of deeds, and we don't use that office a lot, but it gets used a lot by people that are transferring property, real estates, filing things that they want registered, the assessors. But the jail is one of those things that the general fund is out of. And so just an example of how that is and I had the sheriff check the other day, how the inmates that are there, 232 were originally charged by the sheriff's department, and 122 were charged by Greenville Police Department. You have Bayleton and Tusculum have like 4 each, and THP. The city doesn't house prisoners, so whenever we hear, okay, I live in the city, what do I get for my taxes? Well, you don't have to house prisoners, and that's quite a liability and quite a cost that you do get. And now we pay the tipping fees, the county does. So if you live in town, as I do, so the tax would be higher for me, I push my garbage to the street, it gets picked up by the city, but when it gets to the landfill, the taxes are paid equally across those. And county roads, which we've got a whole lot of, and I don't think we limit somebody and check, do you live in the city, and check you have toll booths on county roads to check that. So
do they fund the convenience centers as well, the property tax?
Property tax, county all does, and a city resident can go to a convenience center and take their garbage. So that was why we agreed it is fair that be done across the board.
And now, as you said, you live in the city. Do you agree with this tax increase yourself?
Well, I look at it, and I do. It's going to cost me more up front, but if we look at, okay, we fund all county property in this rate, and then I'm willing to pay extra for those city services to push my garbage can to the curb, to have extra police officers, to have fire halls closer that are manned instead of volunteer. So.
Well, that's all the questions we have for today, unless you have any comments you want to make, Mayor.
Well, I'm like everybody else. Nobody wants to pay more taxes, but you look, we're 86 out of 95 counties in the state of Tennessee on where we rank. Well, and Tennessee is one of the lowest ranked counties in the country. So it's not like we have a high tax rate here. It's just that we need to fund and properly fund those departments that are needed. Not asking for a whole lot more in this. I mean, we're looking for our attorney to go full-time, but that's basically out some insurance funds and things that won't. We don't have a human resource department. I think you look at any business, and people say run government like a business. Well, I think we're just missing out on some things by not having a human resource person. Most of that would be funded out of our insurance because of the way we've been able to negotiate this clinic. But we've got issues with Americans Disability Act that we need to make sure we're in compliance and doing the things so that everybody has access to county government. We need to, we don't have anybody really looking at our OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health, and that. We have a person that whenever they show up once a year and do a random inspection, we kind of look at that. But I think we're leaving dollars on the table for being pennies short by not having that HR person that can really look at what can we do for the safety of our employees that may make it a safer work environment. Are we looking at our buildings? What can we do to make it safer for them so that we don't maybe end up in to reduce our workman comp's liability, and also to reduce any possible accidents that may be occurring on our property. So those are two positions we drastically need. Some of the others are looking at adding a person, building, planning, and zoning. If we're going to say we have a debris ordinance, then we need to be able to fund it and have the personnel to go out and actually follow up and inspect. We say, well, we need businesses and buildings and manufacturings to come. Well, with the number of people we got there, it'd be difficult to actually go out and help facilitate that growth. So, I think it's time that we fund our county and not asking for extra. Let's just quit going into the fund balance and do it right.
Well, thank you, Mayor, for coming by and talking to us about the budget. And just a reminder to everyone that if you're interested in getting involved, there is a public hearing on Monday at the Greene County Courthouse about the budget. And then at 6 o'clock, the commission meeting, and they will be voting on the budget and discussing the budget. Thank you very much. This has been Reid Seals for AM 1340 WGRV.